Alright, so it's the 2nd of August 2015 and I'm standing here at one of the entrances to Sunnybrook Park in Toronto. I've got my bicycle here with my camera on it, and in this video I'm going to make a video where I ride my bike down into Sunnybrook Park, and then from there I connect up with the Lower Don Trail, which leads all the way downtown to where Lake Ontario is. So the very beginning of this ride is going to be riding down a big hill, because we're going down to a river valley, which is where the Don River West flows down to Lake Ontario. So there's a big drop in elevation to get down to that level. And this is the same river valley that I have to cross each day when I go to and from work through the Hogs Hollow area. So we've got a nice big wide paved path here, although it's not open to cars, so it's pretty good for riding on, although I don't go too fast on it, because if I went off the trail I could get pretty badly hurt. Alright, so now we're down in Sunnybrook Park. There's a big dog area over there on the left, like an unleashed area for dogs to run wild and play with each other. Forget the technical term for them. So the bulk of Sunnybrook Park is kind of in an area that we're not going to go past today. There's a whole bunch of large fields in Sunnybrook Park, and they have all kinds of interesting sports that they house here. Including like ultimate frisbee and handball and cricket. I mean, they're international sports that are common in lots of other places, but in Canada they're not super popular sports. So if I was to turn left there, I'd go up a hill and we'd see those sports fields. But instead I'm going to go this way and follow along the river, the Don River, which flows downhill down to Lake Ontario, which is where the Toronto Waterfront is and where the downtown of Toronto is. So through here the bike trail is mostly on the road, but there's not a lot of traffic on here, so it's a pretty nice area to ride through. Lots of cars parked. These parks up in this area have lots of like picnic areas and barbecues, and I think you can rent or reserve a picnic area for your family. And you see big huge groups of people, like as many as 50 people all gathered together for a family reunion, or some kind of a barbecue or something for maybe some kind of a group or an organization. So in the weekends during the summer, you certainly see a lot of that kind of thing going on in this park. And I don't think we're actually even in Sunnybrook Park anymore. I think we might have moved into the next park. But all these parks are just continuous. They're all connected together. So it's hard to know where one ends and the next one begins. Lots of other cyclists out coming the other way. It's a great day to be out riding. It's quite a warm day. It's supposed to go up to 30 Celsius today. Very blue looking sky above. I suppose I could be riding over there on that pathway on the other side of the concrete dividers, but I feel like there's a lot of pedestrians over there, and I'm just as happy being over here. I just saw a sign back there and it said Wilkett Creek Park, so that's the name of the park we're in right now. Although it's constantly changing as you're riding through here. So this is a really nice way of riding your bike to get downtown. It's, you know, almost completely car free, and it's nice enjoying the nature. The only downside is it's not very direct for me. The entrance to the park is about a 10 to 15 minute bike ride just to get to the entrance of it. So it's you know, quite a fair bit of a detour just to start your ride. Considering for me riding downtown only takes about half an hour if I just take the direct streets to get down there. I believe this bridge we're about to go under is Eglinton Avenue. Though I could be mistaken about that. We're going on another big bridge here. This is an old railway bridge. I imagine that the trains still go through it. It's very high up above us. So now from the rest of the way down, we won't have, the path will be more like this, where it's just a wide paved path with no vehicular traffic on it. And then this next park we're in has a frisbee golf course where you can play frisbee golf. There's lots of different holes. You can see right here, this is, I guess, hole 1. It's a par 3. So on this concrete pad is where you would tee off, and then there's a target you need to get your frisbee to reach on the other side of the park. I'm sure we'll ride past one of the targets you can see. I've never played frisbee golf here. I've never really played frisbee golf other than when I was a kid, just as, you know, something to do informally, seeing who could hit a tree first with the frisbee. But there are some serious players that come out here and they have this big gym bag that's just full of frisbees. It's neat to watch. There's one of the frisbee golf holes there on the left. I'll just wander off the trail a little bit to show. So that's the target you're trying to hit. Oh, sorry. There's a frisbee coming at me, and I was getting in his way and he almost hit me with his frisbee. Luckily it didn't hit me. But yeah, so those metal chains are what you're trying to hit with your frisbee. Some other people playing. So our total distance so far is just under 4 kilometers. And it's been mostly downhill, which is nice. Toronto slopes down to the south because that's where our lake is, so in general everything will eventually slope downwards towards the lake, towards the south. So riding your bike downtown is always faster than riding your bike back uptown. This bridge we're going under here is Overlea Boulevard, which is one of the bridges which spans across the Don Valley. I apologize if there's some wind noises on the microphone. I do have a foam pad that I put over the microphone. It does a pretty good job of blocking out the wind noises, but some of them still come through. So not too long ago, I just got finished posting all of my biking videos from New York City. And that was a fairly big undertaking because I filmed 8 videos while I was there, showing, 8 different parts of the city, giving tours of all kinds of different things. So I got back with lots of editing and posting to do. But I'm through all that and I decided I can focus now on filming some more Toronto cycling videos. And actually that was a comment that I received a fair bit on my New York City videos, was that you've done a great job of showing New York City, but why don't you make more videos about your own city? And of course I always intend to make lots of videos in Toronto as well, but I get busy sometimes, and it's easier to prioritize something like that when you're only in Like when you're in New York City for only a week, it's like you have that 1 week to make as many videos as you can. But when you live in a city, it's like, well, I could make that video today, or I could just do it next weekend. But today was the perfect day to make one of these videos, so I figured, let's do it. This is actually a trail I've been wanting to show for a long time. So now you may hear some traffic noises. That's because we're going to be riding along beside the freeway that we have that runs through here, which is called Valley Parkway. And actually, if you notice in front of us, there's some interesting looking structures. Those are flower pots, or they have trees growing in them, but they're called, I forget what they're called, but they made to kind of look like elephants, and they look really neat. But something that you always see when you're driving down the Valley Parkway. And they've been there, you know, certainly as long as I can remember when I was a kid. So this area of the Don Valley is nice because there's no parking lots or cars that you have to navigate through on your bike. But the only downside is that right here is where the trail is really close to the Don Valley Parkway. So you do have the traffic noise from it as you're riding. So you don't totally feel like you're, you know, out of the city enjoying nature. But it's still a really nice trail. So if you've never seen one of my videos like this before, I've been on YouTube for quite a few years now, and this is kind of a video that I've been kind of specializing in the last few years, making like riding tour videos. So I mount a camera on my bike, and I have a vocal microphone mounted to an earpiece. So I ride along, and instead of just recording a video of riding and then putting music against it or speeding it up or doing something like that, I just narrate and describe the things that we're going past and tell stories and things like that. And the idea is that as you're watching this video from home, it's like you're out on your bike joining me going riding too. And I've actually had people tell me that they watch my videos while sitting on a stationary bike inside, and it's like, you know, it gives them something to watch while they're exercising, but it also truly makes them feel like they're out on their bike as well. So I've been doing these videos for almost 2 years now, and it's something that I enjoy making, and I've developed a fair size of an audience that enjoys tuning in to watch them. I had the idea to do this on my own. I hadn't really seen anyone else that did a biking vlog kind of a video like this back when I started. Of course, I was aware of people that did this from their car, so it's not really a entirely original idea. But since I started, I found another guy on YouTube who does the same kind of videos as I do. On YouTube, he goes by the name Bike Blogger, and he frequently posts, commuting to work videos, as well as riding other places around his city. So I figure if you enjoy watching my videos, it's a good chance you'll enjoy watching his as well. So I'll provide a link in the description below. This bridge we're going underneath is the Millwood Bridge, I think it's called, which spans from Laird Boulevard in Leaside area down through into East York. One of the other big bridges that goes across the Don Valley. So part of the trail which is coming up is part of what they call the Pan Am Path. And actually we might already be on the Pan Am Path, but what the Pan Am Path is well, this summer Toronto has been hosting the 2015 Pan Am Games, which is a multi-sport games, kind of similar to the Olympics, but it just isn't quite as big. It only has countries which are from North America and South America and Central America, and just kind of, you know, that region of the world. It doesn't include any of Europe or Asia or anywhere else. So, I mean, Toronto has been so much going on this summer in the city, and it's been a lot of fun in my opinion. Really enjoyed it. I went and watched a bunch of sports that were going on in the city. But a lot of the things they've been also doing is they've been building things kind of like as ways of showcasing Toronto for the hosting of the Pan Am Games. So one of them is they wanted to build a trail, a big long trail which just kind of spans the whole width of Toronto. And it actually, so of course they didn't just start fresh and make a totally new trail. They just picked a bunch of existing trails and they worked on making connections between them to make it continuous, so you could ride all the way from one end of Toronto to the other end of Toronto. So this little section here that we're riding through, or I believe we're already on it. I'm not sure where it starts and ends, but a portion of the Lower Don Trail was designated as part of the Pan Am Path. This paint here, I'm sure, is related to it being the Pan Am Path. I imagine, at least. Just got a little road crossing here to get across. And there we go. There's the Pan Am path. You can see that red paint back there. Lots of cyclists out. Another old railway bridge we're going under. So for my regular viewers, a new piece of news that I have is that a few days ago I was fixing a flat tire on my green bike, my green machine, a bike that has been in so many of my videos. And I mean, this is a bike that I've had for more than 5 years, and it's many more years older than that. It wasn't new when I got it, and I've ridden it during the winter every single year since I've got it, and it's, as a result, became quite rusty. So it's not in the greatest shape, but I still love riding it. Anyway, I was just doing a simple repair, a simple tire removal and inner tube, fixing the inner tube, fixing the little hole in the inner tube. And I was putting my wheel back on the bike, and as I was tightening the wheel bolt at the back, I heard a crack, and I looked down, and the area where the frame connects up with the back wheel cracked, unfortunately. So this bridge we're going under here is the Prince Edward Viaduct, the Bloor Street Danforth Street Bridge, which has a subway which runs below it. So it's a neat bridge. And they just recently installed some special LED lighting in it in honor of the Pan Am Games to make it look neat. I actually, in all the coverage of the Pan Am Games that I saw, I never saw them actually even show it on TV, so I don't know how valuable that really was. Anyway, so as I was saying with my green machine, unfortunately the frame is now cracked, and I mean, I suppose it would be possible to get somebody to weld it back together for me, but it probably would never be as strong, and the frame is all really rusty anyways. And as attached to that bike as I am, I still think it's time to say goodbye and replace it with something else. So right now I've been looking at similar bikes. I don't need a bike that's in good working order, because all of the components on my green machine still work fine. I just need a good frame that's, you know, similar dimensions and material and everything, that I can just move all the parts over and make a new green machine. So there may be some videos in the future about creating my new green machine, although making videos of things sometimes tends to slow down how fast I can work. So I do want to get this new bike up and running as soon as possible, assuming I can find one that's suitable. Alright, so now we cross back over the Don River. And as you can see, it's quite a wide river now. That's because down at this end, there's already been lots of different rivers and creeks and things have all joined together. So it's wider. I think it's pretty shallow though too. So down here we'll be approaching where the athletes village was for the Pan Am Games, which is kind of this new neighborhood that was built on a big piece of property that was industrial and had some kind of chemical spill on it, and they had to get that all cleaned up before building this new site. The Pan Am Games ended last weekend, a week ago today, but they still have the Para-Pan Am Games, which is the equivalent of the Paralympics, which will be running starting next Friday, I believe, and it runs for a week. And there's also a new park that was built down here called Corktown Commons Park, which opened last year, I believe. Although it's closed to the public right now. I think it's somehow connected with the athletes village. It's maybe only the park that's exclusive to just the athletes. But I will show you where the entrance to get to Corktown Commons Park is. So yeah, most of what I've shown before in the past of Toronto has been on-road stuff. I haven't really taken a lot of trails with my bike and made videos of it. Yeah, so that's where the entranceway to the park is. It's closed from June 1st until August 31st, so pretty much the whole summer the park's closed, unfortunately. Yeah, as I was saying, I haven't made many trails videos, but Toronto does have a fair bit of nice trails like this one. I just don't end up using them that much because in my daily life I use my bike as my method for getting around. So I ride my bike to work in the morning every day and then back home from work at the end of the day. And then after that, I've already ridden, you know, at least 16 kilometers, sometimes more, depending on if I ran any errands on my way home. So I usually get home and I change out of my biking clothes. And then going out again and doing some recreational biking really isn't something that appeals to me all the time. Because I've already done plenty of biking in the day. But it's nice if I have somebody else to go riding with. These are great trails to go on when you're riding in a group. Person had a dog riding in the front of her bike. Straight ahead I can see the CN Tower. It may be kind of hidden behind trees, but a little bit to the right of this. So when we turn right back there, onto the trail that we're on right now. I think we kind of left the Lower Don Valley Trail, although I guess we're still a bit on it. Once it gets to the bottom, it kind of branches off in a few different directions to connect to a bunch of other trails which are down here. I took the option which will take us to the waterfront in the downtown area. So we just got to get across this road here, which is called Lakeshore Boulevard. And then we'll be on a different trail, which is not the Lower Don Trail, it's the Waterfront Trail, or the Martin Goodman Trail as it's also known. And they've just done a whole lot of improvements to the Martin Goodman Trail in the middle of Toronto. It used to just kind of end, and then it said continues in, 3 kilometers, something like that. And you were stuck on a very busy road to get across the center of Toronto. Although this crossing here is not ideal either. They really could do some improving to it to make it easier to get across. Very slow crossing. You have to end up waiting for 2 traffic light cycles to get across. Here we go. All right. This is where it continues here. Now we're going to be riding west into the downtown core. And this bridge thing that you can see on the left or on the right there, elevated highway, that is the Gardner Expressway, which is a busy fast highway which runs into the middle of the city, or actually really runs across the middle of the city with exits and entrances in the middle of the city. So those big blue boxes that we just rode through, those are like, I don't know exactly what they're called, but the idea is that you, when you're riding along and you see a traffic light, because this part of the route has bike signals, bike traffic lights all the way along when there's intersections. So you're supposed to wait in these boxes until the coast is clear and then proceed. I'm not sure exactly the idea behind them when there's no actual signal, when it's just a, you know, like a stop sign kind of a crossing. So the building over on the left is one of the campuses of George Brown College, a community college. It's in Toronto area. It's their Waterfront campus. So this bike path here that I'm riding on didn't used to exist. They did have bike lanes on the road here in this section, but they weren't continuous throughout, so the bike lanes would end soon. This big building up ahead with the kind of gray or white roof, with the big green sign and the big ship, green ship beside it, that is the Red Path Sugar Factory, which is a sugar refinery that produces almost all of the sugar that gets consumed within Canada. And I had the pleasure of getting a little tour inside of it on the open streets weekend, or open doors open weekend in Toronto, where they let you go on tours of big buildings. They didn't let you inside of the actual factory where they do all of the refining, because that's a food safe area where you'd have to wear all kinds of special equipment so you didn't contaminate things. But they did let you go inside of the big warehouse where they store all of the raw sugar that comes in. So that was a neat tour to go on. But yeah, I certainly love riding on this new, you know, bi-directional separated bike lane. It's a real pleasure compared to what used to be here. So this continues on all the way across the downtown core, and then it meets up with another recreational trail. It's a continuation of the same trail, which goes most of the way across Toronto. But I'm not gonna ride all that way today, because this video is focused on the Lower Don Trail and we've already accomplished that. But I will in the future make a separate video showing riding across the Waterfront Trail, the Martin Goodman Trail. So this street here that we're just crossing, this is Yonge Street, where this intersection is. Yonge Street ends here. And earlier this year I made a biking video where I rode down Yonge Street all the way from my home down to here, and this was the ending spot. But back then there used to be a large ship which was parked there, which was an old seafood restaurant. So the ship that was there used to be a restaurant called Captain John's Seafood, and as you can see it's no longer there, but there still is a sign up there which calls this Captain John's Pier. That ship has now been sent away for scrap after sitting there for 30 or 40 years. Well, anyway, I hope you enjoyed joining me on this ride down the Don Valley Trail all the way down to the waterfront of Toronto. Please leave a comment below and let me know what you thought of this video, and thanks for watching.